Hi, this is Christine with Where's Watson? Well, I have a series called What Are Leaders Reading? And I invited our illustrious president and CEO, Fred Meier, to talk about what he's reading. But in fact, he tells me it's an audiobook. So now we're going to call the series, What Are Leaders Listening To? And so Fred, what was the audiobook that you chose?
The audiobook that I chose was Seven Fallen Feathers by Tanya Talaga.
Very good. So tell us a little bit about the book.
So the book is written by an Indigenous author, and it's about 7 Indigenous students who in Northern Ontario went to school, and because many First Nation communities don't have schooling up to grade 12 in community, they moved to Thunder Bay to go to school, and this is a story about 7 lives that were lost by students in Northern Ontario in these communities.
So Fred, that's a really important topic. Why was it this book? What attracted you to this book in particular?
You know, I think it's like a lot of books that you read. They end up are recommendations from people that you know.
Yeah.
So a colleague that I worked with for a long time had recommended to me after reading this book that as somebody who's in education and post-secondary education to read this book, because it really links the importance of our education systems to reconciliation, to the residential schools as well, and the impacts that students who further their education are subjected to as well. So it is a heavy read, listen in my case, around young people who have lost their lives in the pursuit of education. But it's an important story that speaks about the lives and the impacts of residential schools and colonialism in our communities that people still face this.
Wonderful. Is there something that you took away that you've then brought into your own leadership? So as an influential book for you, what have you taken from that into your own leadership?
Well, I would say it really relates to one of my own commitments around reconciliation and gaining a better understanding as a person who's lived in Canada my entire life. I don't think that the education system that I went through actually provided a true account of the lives of Indigenous people inside of our country. And I made a commitment to read more books by Indigenous authors to gain a different perspective than the one that I was offered through my education as well. And this book has provided me that, and it provided me an account of stories that we're probably all aware of or heard about that occurred in Thunder Bay, but provides it through a different narrative, a voice that we probably through the traditional media didn't hear about as well. So, you asked the question, did I take something away from it? I think it's just that I need to understand different perspectives and continue to broaden sort of my understanding as well.
I'm going to broaden it out then to ask you, as a leader, in addition to the book that you've just described, how do you like to read? What kind of things do you like to read? How do you get your information? Because I know, having worked with you, that you are incredibly curious and you are constantly seeking out new information and new stories. So what's your preferred method? Do you listen to podcasts, audiobooks? Do you like hardcover books? Do you like tablets? What's your preferred method?
My preferred method is just inundating you with questions. I think it's a number of different things. I think curiosity, I think, is a key part of my learning. I have an interest in something, and I'll try to find many different ways to gain the information. A lot is through personal connections. So a lot of it is through people who have an experience. And I joked at the beginning, it was a lot of questions for you, but it's true, right? It's people who have experience and more experience than I do in a certain area. So I rely on you and many other people within our organization or even outside of our organization for information. But I'm a person who gains information through reading. I do quite a bit of reading, and it's It's on specific topics a lot of time. Podcasts are a part of that as well, and magazines or online material, YouTube, as everybody else does, with all kinds of different information. So yeah, it's been a different meeting. Well, thanks for taking the time today.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Fred.
Take care.